Hi, my name's Steve, and in this short presentation, which won't be up for long, I'm going to share my personal story of how at the age of 46, I completely changed my body and finally got the six-pack I thought only those with gifted genetics could get. I'm also going to tell you about 5 specific foods the media tells us are healthy, but in reality, not only drain us of energy, but can also cause a big ring of fat to pile up around our midsection. The crazy thing is, most people are overweight because of these 5 specific health foods I'll tell you about, and not just because they eat too much junk food. Also, if you've ever tried eating less food to lose fat, you'll soon know the scientific reason that can never realistically work. I'll show you how you can eat more food and burn belly fat faster. Oh, and lastly, I'll show you proof as to why common ab exercises and ridiculous ab gadgets sold on late-night infomercials have absolutely no chance of getting you a six-pack. In fact, doing these things alone can actually make your stomach look fatter. I know it sounds crazy, but stick with me, because I promise you by the end of this presentation, you'll know exactly how to lose your belly fat and finally get a visible six-pack that others will envy. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, 60 years old or 20 years old. The information I'll be sharing with you has not only worked for me and thousands of others, but can work for you too. Let me quickly introduce you to one of those people before we get started. This is Elena. Elena lost a whopping 86 pounds. She went from weighing 202 pounds to this, weighing only 120 pounds. And you are going to have access to the same information she used to make such dramatic changes to her body. Oh, in just a minute, I'll introduce you to several others who've shed belly fat and seen their abs for the very first time. But first, let me tell you a quick 60-second story. It starts off a little depressing, but the end all but makes up for it, I promise. You see, I come from a long line of poor genetics. Obesity and diabetes has followed my family around for as long as I can remember. My father was diabetic. My mother is currently on medication for high blood pressure and high cholesterol levels. My brother weighs over 400 pounds and is also diabetic. And I too was headed down that very same path just a few short years ago. Here's a picture of me taken around that time. Not only was I out of shape and totally depressed, but I'd also injured the cervical disc in my neck so badly that many doctors recommended surgery to fuse the vertebrae together, just so I could function on a day-to-day basis. I was completely miserable. But the breaking point for me came when a coworker named Gloria, she set me up on a blind date. Gloria thought I'd be a good guy for her friend, Jennifer. She described Jennifer as a tall, beautiful blonde with perfect skin and a great personality. So I ended up going on this date where I picked her up in my fancy car and took her to a nice restaurant. She was just as Gloria had described, a real beauty. I thought I could wing the date with my fancy car and successful real estate background, but none of this was impressive to a girl like Jennifer. No, you see, what Jennifer wanted was a confident man who was comfortable with who he was. And for me, being confident with myself, mainly due to the sad shape I was in, was the furthest thing from the truth. And that lack of confidence was exactly what made the date go south, leaving me even more depressed and more single than I'd ever felt in my entire life. And that for me was when things shifted, and I decided I didn't want to end up overweight, diabetic, and single for the rest of my life. I chose to ignore the doctor's suggestion for spinal surgery, which later turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life, and I researched every possible method to rehab myself, including spinal decompression, epidurals, and physical therapy. At age 45, I had had enough. I was determined to get in the best shape of my life and prove to myself that it could be done, no matter my physical condition, my poor genetics, or even my age. Okay, I'll admit, 45 wasn't exactly my ideal age to decide to get into the best shape of my life, but I did not care. I read book after book. I talked with some of the guys at the local gym that had six-packs, who I never saw do a single crunch or sit-up, I might add, and I scoured the internet, reading and trying everything I could get my hands on. Fast forward to today, and here's a picture of me now, at age 46. To be completely honest, I was shocked that this sort of change was actually possible. Not only do I look and feel better than I ever have, but the confidence I've gained from changing my body has transferred into other areas of my life. I'm happily married to the woman of my dreams. I can enjoy the beach or pool with my daughter without worrying about taking my shirt off. And I was finally able to stand up to the boss who overworked me all too often. 46 is the new 26, as I often joke with my family and friends. Oh, I'll never forget walking into my office one weekend after